Hello and welcome to the latest Lukozer retro game review video, and for this one, well, it is the last V8, which as you can clearly see from the fact that this game does one of my biggest pet hates with games, created by David Darling, as it tells you throughout the entire thing. In fact, as you can see, the actual playing area of this game is less than 1/3 of the actual screen itself, and a large proportion of the 2/3 that's taken up with well, everything except the playing area is the fact that it's constantly telling you the name of the game that you have bought and have loaded. I fucking hate it when games do that. So this game came out in around 85, maybe 86. It was released by Mastertronic, but it was one of the first games released on their MAD label, the Mastertronic Added Dimension, which meant it cost a little bit more. This one cost £3 as opposed to the usual £2 that Mastertronic games usually cost. So did it warrant that extra price? Well, as you have been able to see from this video so far, now that fucking annoying sound has stopped, this game doesn't have a title page. It just goes straight into demo mode, and the demo mode keeps looping until you start the game itself. It does have a decent soundtrack by Rob Hubbard, who else, but it also features some of the worst synthesized speech I have heard in a game of any kind. I mean, you can barely make out what it says, but at the start of the first level it says V8 return to base immediately, and at the start of the second level, V8 return to base immediately. Yes, that did say V8 return to base immediately. Well, actually it said return to base immediately. And at the start of level 2 it says caution, avoid radioactive zones. So yeah, the speech is awful. The music is great though, and graphically, the graphics in the playing area aren't too bad, I suppose. The graphics on your info panel I'm not that keen on, because that info panel could have been a hell of a lot smaller and shown you exactly the same amount of info. You don't need to know your RPM, which is not even close to being accurate anyway. You don't really need to know your speeds, because it's not really that relevant. So the only things you really need to know are fuel, but that again is not all that relevant. You're not very likely to run out of fuel in this game, believe me. Time, which is extremely important for the first level. It's not important in this level, there isn't a time limit, but that's when your shield comes into it. And the turbo is not important at all. And knowing the distance to the base, which also changes to show the skull and crossbones when you're in the radioactive area, that's useful. But those pieces of info could be put in a much smaller space and tell you exactly the same thing. So the layout is diabolical. But the layout is the least of this game's problems. I've been putting it off for as long as I can, but here we go. This is actually me playing now, I think. Yeah, this is me playing. So, we're speeding along here and ploughed straight into a hedge, which makes the car explode. In fact, the car explodes when it hits anything. A hedge, a fence, a tree, a building, a pebble, you name it. If the car hits it, it blows up. It's no wonder that there aren't any more V8s left, or, you know, and this is the last one. Now, I did have this game back in the day, and if I can get there, because it has been an awfully long time since I played this, I will show you when I get to the furthest I ever got in that game. And to give you some idea, I almost made it. I never got close to finishing level 1. And the fact that there are only 2 levels in this game tells you that old David Darling here didn't expect too many other people to get off level 1. Now the thing is, you can't sort of take your time and try and get around the area slowly, because your time limit is so narrow that you would... Oh, fuck it. You'll run out of time if you don't go, or don't attempt to go full whack at every possible moment that you can. That speech isn't really getting... Oh, fuck it. I forgot the... That speech isn't really getting annoying. Alright, here we go again. Now I feel somewhat obliged to do this review, because I fucked that right up. I was going way too fast. But yeah, I feel somewhat obliged to do this review because 2 people I know have done this, reviewed this game. Gan's Teeth was unfortunate enough to have reviewed it a while back, and more recently John Gage also did it. Oh, for fuck's sake. And the reason they both reviewed it is because on both occasions I nominated the game for them. So yes, I am to blame for them having to endure it. So I felt it's only fair that I redress the balance, and I now... Oh, for fuck's sake. And I now endure this fucking heap of shit myself. Now if the size of the playing area wasn't a big enough issue, the controlling the car is definitely another issue. The car is, well, it doesn't just border on the uncontrollable, it is uncontrollable. It is... fuck. The car basically, it will accelerate in whichever direction you point it at, which sounds simple enough. But to slow down, you have to move the joystick in the opposite direction, which again sounds simple, but then you've also got the up and down movements to try and steer it in those directions, and then once it is going in that direction, then it will accelerate there, and then you've got to do the fucking left and right to try and turn it, and it is just horrendous. Trying to control this fucking car is just an exercise in pure frustration, nothing else. So the game isn't fun to play. Right, now I've used up a monumental amount of time to try and get round that corner. My time was almost out, and I hadn't even reached the bridge that was the halfway point. But what you saw there on that go is the furthest I have ever got in this game. I've never even got to that bridge, which is the marker for the halfway point. This is also, I think, the most number of times I have played this game since since I got it back in the day in, say, either 85 or 86. This was definitely £3 down the fucking toilet. There is a Commodore 128 version. The 128 features a third level, except that third level is the new first level. When you're on the surface of Mars and you're collecting fuel rods. Also has vastly fucking hell. It also has vastly improved speech. When I say vastly improved, I mean that you're able to somewhat work out what it says without having to sit there and try and decipher it. So, yeah, it is a vast improvement, but I mean, it's still pretty fucking... Oh, fuck off. I can't take any more of this. So, well, there you are, the last V8. Graphically, it's bearable, or at least it would be if the playing area took up, you know, at least a little bit more than 1/3 of the screen, especially as some of this large area that's taking up space is utterly pointless with that fucking irritating thing of telling you the name of the game that you've bought and you've loaded, and oh, I may have forgotten what it was called. Oh, I don't need to remember now because it's there written in front of me all the time. So this is now the demo version mode again. So you have that, graphics which are okay until you realise how small the playing area is, and that bullshit thing of showing you the title throughout. Sound wise, the music's fantastic. This is one of my favourite Rob Hubbard pieces. The speech is absolutely atrocious and is the worst I've ever heard in any computer game. And then the gameplay is just a fucking joke. The car is just uncontrollable. The levels are, well, because of the time limit, the levels are ridiculously hard. Well, not just because of the time limit. I mean, the levels are ridiculously hard because of the control method, but the control the time limit just adds to it. I've seen the Commodore 128 version being completed, and it took them less than 4 minutes to complete the game. And that's bearing in mind that the Commodore 128 version has an extra level, and that the Commodore 128's first level is longer than the second and third levels, or for the 64 version, the first and the second levels put together. So if you completed the Commodore 64 version, you would do it in 2 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. Just search for Google the last V8 long play. You'll see for yourself. So even though the game was only £3, as far as value for money goes, it's like I say, you may as well flush your £3 down the fucking carsey. It'll offer you the same amount of entertainment, and it will last just as long. So the game is a fucking shit heap. I will score it 1 purely for the great Rob Hubbard music, but I mean the score it would have got for, you know, the audio is then somewhat negated by the diabolical synthesized speech. So yeah, it only gets 1 out of 10. And to be honest, you should think yourself lucky that it got as much as that. So there you go, that's the last V8. Fucking stinking shit pile. That brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.